Hello, I'm Sam Naz. More than 1 million people lined the route of the Tour de France today as it ran from Cambridge through Essex and into London. Stage 3 of the tour was 96 miles long and it put the east of England in the world spotlight. Ian Barmer rounds up a day to remember.
The UK's cycling capital, the world's biggest bike race and the best road races on the planet. For Cambridge, this was a marriage made in heaven with a British hero.
How's the day going to go?
Yeah, it should be a pretty straightforward one compared to the last few days, I think.
Good luck.
They left from Parker's Piece, the start of a stage that would take Le Tour into London. 12 miles in, a big crowd was waiting.
This is the place to be in Saffron Walden, the heart of the town, the tightest of bends. Hard to believe nearly 200 riders are going to squeeze round here. The atmosphere is incredible, not just a wall of noise, but an explosion of sound as they race down the high streets. What a view of the action area. So far, so good. All the riders round safely as they head off out of town and into the heart of the Essex countryside.
The tour came through Finching Field just after 1 o'clock.
After a long wait, here comes the peloton.
Team Sky well up the front, it's hard to see much, but very exciting.
Absolutely excellent. They flashed by in 10-20 seconds, crowd cheering, really exciting.
I've seen it in France, but on home territory it's even better.
This is Howe Street, just north of Chelmsford. Hundreds converged on the verge, having a real blast. No drop-off, though, in pace for the pros, 90 minutes in.
Well, here come the main pack. It's a thrilling moment, a moment of great contrast, because from this tiny community, a tumultuous welcome.
The tour has been big news on social media, and you've kept us well supplied with photos, tweets and emails. Everyone thought the Tour de France was going to be big news for this region, but now the figures are there to back it up. 198 riders, 22 teams, and tonight the organisers say 1 million fans along the route. Ian Barmer, BBC Look East.
Well, Keith Johnson is the landlord of the Fox at Finching Field and the riders went right past his front door. Thanks for joining us tonight, Keith. Have you ever seen anything like it?
Absolutely not. It was absolutely spectacular. We've had the most fantastic day possible.
Well, we've seen the incredible pictures, but just sum up the atmosphere there as the tour passed through.
Oh, well, it was absolutely electric. Looking around the village, we get some busy weekends here anyway, but looking around the village, there wasn't a blade of grass to be seen. It was full of spectators, and you know what was lovely? People were having a lovely time, really enjoying it at the same time. It's absolutely super.
And what do you think the tour's done for Essex as a whole?
Oh, I think it's probably showcased us to the world. Essex is a beautiful county and sometimes gets bad press. But when you look at places like Finching Field and our surrounding district, I think it's probably shown the world just how beautiful an area this is. And we love people to come back to it.
Well, it's clearly been a fantastic day for the county. But do you think places like yours and Finching Field will benefit in the longer term from this?
I honestly do, and I would love to think so. I think once that we've had, people tell us we've had something like 7,000 here today, and I can well believe that. And I'd love to think that many, many of those 7,000 will come back into the village when maybe not as crowded, but when they could still have a fabulous time here at Finching Field, and we welcome them back to the Fox Inn.
That's fantastic. Keith Johnson, thank you. More than £100 million of government funding has been announced for Essex, Suffolk and Norfolk. It'll be spent on superfast broadband, new relief roads and further education colleges.
This is a big award which business leaders say will make a big difference, making it easier for local businesses to grow and the local workforce to be trained.
Fantastically important. You know, this is a transformational moment for the Norwich and Suffolk economy. If you take all the package and all the funding and all the money it'll leverage, we're being given £300 million to spend on growth, jobs and enterprise.
Education does particularly well. Among the big winners, Lowestoft College, which will spend £10 million on an engineering centre, while Easton College near Norwich will spend nearly £4 million on a new construction training centre.
This is really important to us. We've been pushed by industry to develop work in construction to meet what is a very significant demand for the construction sector in Norfolk. And we've had some considerable success at doing it, but we've just run out of space.
Today, the plans won the approval of the Transport Minister, who was on a visit to Easton. There's been an important change this time round. Local business groups, rather than Whitehall officials, have decided where the money should go.
Far too often, if Whitehall dictates, Whitehall will say we want to do that project, but actually local people will then come back and say, or local business come back, or local education come back and said, we wish you'd done that. And what this does is actually listen to local people's priorities, and that's why it's so important.
There will also be money to help smaller companies to expand, like this pasta manufacturer in Norfolk, which has just bought a bigger factory thanks to a loan from the local enterprise partnership. This housing scheme on the outskirts of Norwich can now be completed because money's been found for a new link road. Labour called this all a pre-election stunt and said it's too little too late. But the government says this record investment will make a difference. Andrew Sinclair, BBC Look East, Norfolk.
2 men have been charged after armed police surrounded a holiday complex near Great Yarmouth at the weekend. A trained negotiator was also called to the scene in Ormsby. The men were arrested after 3 hours. Well, that's it from us tonight. Julie's here now with the weather. Julie.
Thanks very much, Sam. Well, once the last of tonight's showers have died away, we're looking at largely dry conditions with some clear spells and perhaps a little bit of patchy mist and fog. Temperatures, well, these are the lowest values expected in built-up areas, but I think some rural spots could drop down to a chilly 6 or 7 degrees Celsius. And then tomorrow, a day of sunny spells, probably a dry start, but then showers building, and some of these could be heavy and possibly thundery too. But in the best of the sunshine in between the showers, 21 degrees Celsius is expected, perhaps something a degree also higher in some spots. And the winds light and variable, but onshore around the coast, so here temperatures perhaps a few degrees lower. And those showers continuing into tomorrow evening, so a yellow warning in place, with possibly 20 or 30 millimetres of rain in some places. In a moment, the national forecast, but here's the outlook. And some heavy rain expected on Wednesday with more rain on Thursday.